A. Smith here. Obviously, Mr. Amfish, if you're not interested to any media questions, you can simply ignore this message or state that you're not interested. If you are, you can answer these questions on your own time, and I can respond later according. You can just simply press the bottom right mic icon if you are interested to answer these questions. First and foremost, we just completed 2 full seasons of the GFSSL League. With that comes with recruiting. Wisconsin is a football team that is top 3 in the GFSSL League. Are there any players that you are very excited for year 3? Just how are you feeling with as far as expectations going into the year 3 cycle?
Yeah, I have no problem answering some questions. As for the year 3 in the team, I think obviously we had a good recruiting class last year that was top 3, but I believe the year before we were the number 1 recruiting class in the nation. And so the most important thing or exciting thing is just seeing some of those players that are going to be playing. Lots of freshmen are going to be playing. I'd say the most exciting portion and what most people would consider to be the most boring portion is going to be the defense. The defensive tackles, defensive ends are very deep. Going to be a lot of rotation going on there, and Wisconsin probably has one of the best linebacker groups in the country. The weakness is probably going to be the secondary. Not saying that they're bad, but when you look at the groups overall, they're probably the weakest group on the defense and the youngest. But the most exciting portion is going to be the offense. Lots of freshmen playing. 5-star recruit Roos at receiver. He's going to be the number 1 guy, 6'3", 98 speed, that kind of stuff. Really good hands. Going to go with probably a dual threat quarterback system. Going to have one specifically passing quarterback and another quarterback that's probably going to sub in kind of secretly in more running situations. Runs real hard, and that's what I like about him. And likely a freshman running back that's also going to be in there. A true freshman. It was a 4-star green gem that is very, very quick and deceptively for his size, pretty big. Expectations. We have a hard schedule to begin with. Would like to probably get through the first 4 weeks. I mean, I have Notre Dame, South Carolina, Ohio State in like the first 4 or 5 games, something like that. And I'd like to be able to sneak out of that with that limited only 1 loss to try to get through the Big Ten season. So it's going to be a really hard season. The expectation is just to play well and see if we can put a lot of points on the board.
I agree with you 100%. The biggest question we have here at Stephen A. Smith Show, believe it or not, is coming from your quarterback position. Now, I do agree with you as far as the defense. Defense is one of the best in the country. But you have 4 freshman quarterbacks on the offensive side of the football. 1 red shirt who I feel like is the biggest, recruit that potentially could start. I know he's a red shirt, but he's the biggest of all quarterbacks, 6'5", 211, scrambler. One of the fastest, the second fastest of the team. He has the best throwing on the run as well. He's only a few points behind Deion Stump. Can you talk about Jared, your expectations for him maybe in the future? Could you potentially pull his red shirt and allow him to get the starting job?
I think the one you're looking at, you're saying the one that redshirted this year, have tagged his red shirt. I think his last name is Kowalski or something like that. We think he's obviously a very talented quarterback. But we also have 2 redshirt freshmen scrambler quarterbacks on the team. Since he had that redshirt availability, we figured it'd be best to let him sit. Our kind of other secondary dual threat quarterback I think his name is McMillan, one of the other redshirt freshmen, who is also fast and can throw the ball very well. We have a plethora of very young, good quarterbacks. So it's a good problem to have, but the guy that's probably going to get the go is going to be Stump out the gate, with one of the running quarterbacks probably filling in a pin.
And just a few more questions. Looking at your wide receivers and other positions that stand out, obviously, true freshman Rodney Roos out of North Carolina. The kid is 6'3", 192. Obviously, he runs a 4.2 in a 40, 98 speed. The man can definitely stretch the field. You also have Quincy Burrows, who looks like he runs just about another 4.3. You have 2 kids that potentially run 4.3s. No doubt about it. It's not even potential. He's a senior as far as Quincy. It's clear and obvious he's definitely going to be an NFL prospect, 6'3", 210 out of Jacksonville, Florida. Other than that, you have a lot of youth around these guys. I mean, every single one of these guys definitely have potential of playing. Even Delonte Shockey, wide receiver, true freshman. I see he was a red shirt out of Oak Park. The kid can move. A lot of these wide receivers, all of them just about can run. Can you talk about just your excitement of the wide receivers you was able to build for this Wisconsin team?
Yeah, for the wide receivers, super excited about the youth that's there, and obviously the speed. The one thing that's been lacking the last few years is that we had good refinement, route runners, that kind of stuff. But it was a very top heavy group that obviously graduated. I think we graduated like 4 seniors, so it's a very young group, very talented group, very athletic group. But everything I've seen, there's plenty of skill there. The intangibles or the what you'd expect from more of a veteran player might be lacking. It might show up on a play or two, but all the athletic traits are there available for those guys.
Another strength that I would say is your offensive line. Your offensive line is definitely one of the best. I would say top 5 in the country. I mean, you have Kevin Haywood, who's a stud. I mean, he seems to be one of the best in the country. You have Joe Brunner, best in the country. You have Devin Lemons, best in the country. You have Kevin Withrow, one of the best in the country. And then, I mean, you have Colin Cubberly. He's not one of the best in the country, but he's still, good enough, to make something happen, and along with a true freshman, Johnny Walters. So, I mean, this team, looking at just the roster overall, man, is very, very loaded. And I think you're going to have a lot of success with this team. I mean, it says a lot about what you was able to recruit. I mean, this is somebody that was top 3 in the country at recruiting, and I see why. I mean, I haven't even brought up true freshman Adrian Lacombo, tight end. So how do you feel as far as overall, with your overall roster, your offensive line?
Roster overall, real happy with it. I mean, in the skill and talent positions that you expect in quarterback, receiver, running back, lots of youth, but that's not necessarily a problem, right? Offensive line, defensive line, I mean, that's Wisconsin ball. It's getting north and south. It's running the ball. If we don't have an even 50-50 split, we're not playing good football. And I'd say that about a lot of teams. Way too many teams pass too much. If you can't run the ball and you can't stop the run, you're going to have a bad time. And so really excited about the trenches, really excited about the depth that's there. And again, you got to redshirt some of these guys, and that's a really difficult decision to make. But when you're expecting to be a top team, freshmen don't play. Unless they are, top freshmen.
Last but not least, I definitely want to thank you a lot for doing this interview. I may want to get you on a little later in the year to check up on all these freshmen. I mean, you have a lot of freshmen that's ready to plug in and make an impact immediately. But yeah, is there any final thoughts you would like to say, maybe to the GFSSL League or the YouTube community, the few people out there that may watch these videos for fun and entertainment? Do you have any final thoughts? And I definitely want to thank you a lot. Once again, as I said before, signing out. Take care.
As for final thoughts, I mean, it's just, it's a young team, but it's a good team. Get the privilege of playing in the Big Ten against a lot of good users and a lot of really good teams. Hoping to improve on last year. 3-4 losses is not in the plan. It's not an expectation. It's a disappointment. But we also realize that we have a very tough opening schedule, and we play in what is most definitely the best conference in college football, hands down. It's not even a dispute at this point. There are obviously teams that, go through the playoffs and win in the playoffs, but when it comes down to just being a well-rounded good conference, that's Big Ten football, and our team is built to compete in the Big Ten, but also compete in the playoffs, and so that's the expectation. Ted, thank you very much for the interview. Forgot to add that at the end.